Welcome, Star Wars fans, to this week's episode of Duel of the Ranks, a show where you debate takes so hot they'd melt a planet with twin suns. My name's Brody, and this week I'm joined by my co-host Amanda as we attempt to discover what story is truly the best from a galaxy far, far away. On this week's episode, we're going to be discussing ranks and hot takes from the Clone Wars, Season 1, Episode 5, The Rookies. By the end of this episode, we'll have a definitive answer on where this piece of Star Wars content ranks amongst the rest. And if you're watching the live stream here, you may notice we're in a new spot. The studio has changed.
It's very different.
It's extremely different.
It's the inverse of our previous studio, because it was all black and now it's all white here. So
it's all white.
And it's very empty right now, and maybe we have a little bit of an echo, but it's still under construction, you know.
You can see the power drill, the leveler behind us.
Yeah.
No props yet besides those. It's under construction. It'll get better by next week. It's going to keep getting better. Yeah, we moved, and we said we were going to move, and we did it. But we told everyone it was going to look the exact same, and that's
his fault though. That wasn't my decision making at any point. So
you walked in, you're like, it's white. I'm like, it is.
Yeah, I was like, we moved this whole piece, and then it's like, oh, there's not even a wall behind this. It's just a regular wall.
There's a regular wall. We put all of that. We are going to be drastically changing the studio, actually. So we said there was a change each week. That's one of them.
Yeah. Didn't expect that, but here we are.
Didn't expect it, but it's drastically changing for the better. So we're sharing the studio with another podcast we're really excited about. So we had to kind of meld their backdrop.
They're not a Star Wars podcast, so it wouldn't make sense if it was extreme Star Wars stuff here. But we'll still have some little Easter eggs and hints as we build out the studio, and maybe every once in a while we'll swap them out and see oh, did you catch that? Oh, something different is in this corner instead of what it was.
It was pretty funny. They have been using our backdrop for the last month for their business podcast, which is hilarious to have all this Star Wars stuff behind this business podcast where they're growing their brand and everything. But hey, it's all good. It's changing, just like our love for Star Wars. Every single week, I feel like I know a little bit about Star Wars, and then I watch something else or learn something else, and I'm like, man, how much
kind of aging out of it.
Not that I'm aging out of it, but I'm like, wow, it just gets a lot deeper than you think. You meet more fans out there. We're getting ready to go to this, Dyad Con event with other Star Wars fans. They know so much more than us, and it's because they watch shows like the Clone Wars. They've seen it through A to Z. They read the books, and it's built on really good episodes, like the one we just watched.
Yeah, it was a really good episode.
What was it about?
So this week's episode, we reviewed Episode 5, Rookies. Alone on a distant outpost, Clone Commander Cody and Clone Captain Rex must inspire the rookie clones to believe in themselves to stave off a commando droid invasion. This was just a standalone episode, so we only reviewed one today. And what made this episode, I think, stand out to me was getting kind of more personality from the clones. I love how the episode opens up pretty much with these guys stuck on this outpost, the Reese outpost. And you open up with Heavy and Echo, I believe, playing arm wrestling.
Yeah.
And they're also listening to the radio, and there's this what is it? A hologram of this radio robot personality. You're listening to Outer Rim 85-2. This one goes out to crew whatever out in sector blah blah blah.
Wow, you actually sounded like you could do that job.
I could. Pay me more.
She makes
nothing. But I thought that was so funny that you kind of get a moment in these. They're just dudes being dudes.
Yeah.
They're just bros hanging out. What they're kind of bored.
Speaking of just them being bros, you pointed something out to me.
I sure did. I'm actually going to pull it up on the stream because I have an image of it.
Oh gosh.
And it's worth
not safe
seeing.
For work, folks.
I mean, it was in a kids show, so it can't be.
I can't believe it's in a kids show.
It can't be unsafe for work.
KG, you haven't watched the Clone Wars and you're still following this show. First off, I commend you. But secondly, go watch the Clone Wars.
Yeah, come on, we're only 5 episodes in. Like, you're at the perfect time to start watching the Clone Wars.
If you're going to be a guest on this show, you've gotta stay up to date.
Yeah, that's a great reminder. If you are listening to Duel of the Ranks right now and you know someone that is trying to get caught up with Ahsoka before the series comes out, where else are you going to look?
It's true.
Check out dueloftheranks.com and everywhere you listen to podcasts to catch what you missed.
That's an early plug.
Yeah, it sure is. Okay, now back to dudes being dudes.
Yes.
I noticed as I was watching it last night with my husband Jake, and the droids take over sort of like the mission control spot of this safe outpost. And the clones go in to recapture it. And as they go in, I notice in the background, if you see on screen now, you see Cody kind of going in there with his guns ablazing. But what is that? That is some pinup ladies magazines on the wall in the room. It looks like a Twi'lek and like another, I don't know, scantily clad. Like she's like sploon out on the.
That is wild. They put that on Cartoon Network. That is crazy.
Yeah,
I didn't catch it.
I caught it. I even had to like pause and be like, hold on one second. I think that was what I think it was. And for that reason alone, that gave me a couple extra points to add on to the story. I was like, okay, it's believable. You're setting up an environment that I understand. And it wasn't inappropriate.
Do you think Disney would do that?
No way. No way. Oh, and also speaking of that, they drop the H word twice.
Yeah.
What was the context? What did he say? Like, what the hell or something?
Yeah. Hell you think you're doing?
Yeah.
Something along those lines.
I looked it up afterwards, and I guess in some re-airs that was like censored.
Oh wow.
But it's interesting that it wasn't censored on Disney Plus.
No. Disney's like, we'll allow it.
Yeah. It got grandfathered in. Yeah, they didn't they didn't censor the posters. They could have put like Max Rebo Band on it.
Yeah.
But they were like, no. They're just men. The folly of men.
What do you expect?
Yeah, exactly.
They're showcased. They're on a lonely rock.
Yeah, no, this episode was cool because we're introduced for the first time in this series. We get to see Rex for the first time.
Yep.
Who, okay, I haven't seen the like micro series and I've never seen the Clone Wars movie, which we will have to go back and review. But is Rex in either of those? Do you know?
I don't think so.
Okay. So we get Rex, we get Cody, we get Echo, and we get Fives.
Yep.
We see death, lots of death on screen.
Yeah.
And I loved that too, as you know me.
Yeah.
Always going to get high marks.
Yeah. I mean,
no stun gun here.
No stun gun. Yeah. I mean, the violence was a little bit more brutal from the, whatever they were, the battle droids, that just execution style, take out that clone. And after they knock him down. And yeah, I mean, you did love that shot with Rex where he's not, you can't be 100% certain that he didn't just shoot a clone in the face.
Oh, yeah.
But, you know.
So, yeah.
Cody was like, what the hell, man?
Yeah. He's like, you just like executed one of our brothers. And he was like, nah. And then Rex tries to.
If he was wrong.
Yeah. They wouldn't. That's also not for Disney. That's for like A&E drama. Yeah. Like, I murdered the wrong guy. But at one point Rex tries to like get back into the outpost and he is like trying to pose as the commando droid in clone trooper armor, and the droids aren't buying it, so he like pretends to take off his helmet and he shows like the droid's head, and then when the door is open he's got gun blaster ready and he's like, Roger, Roger.
Which is also kind of like dumb. Like they took a lot of time. Like, you know, would you really try to get
Pause
in
to
the
say that.
last word with them? Also, one thing that really did hurt me with the technical aspects in this, and they do it in Star Wars all the time, but it was really egregious in this episode. The amount of times that a droid would try to shoot, whether it's Cody and Rex or some other guy,
Heavy.
Heavy, and they're just out in the open. Heavy's
Just
got this big
one target.
artillery gun and he can hardly move and no one can hit him.
There's there's like 8 like droids there shooting at him all in a cluster, and he's also not hitting them either. Like, dude, you have like a sentry gun. All you have to do is just like move it around and you're gonna hit something. And
it's too difficult.
But he does end up making the ultimate sacrifice when Heavy gets like caught in with all of the droids, and to send the right signal to Skywalker and crew to show that Grievous is mounting a attack, they blow up the comms unit and he like blows himself up with it. And I was like, yes, real life and death.
I think even like the death that got me in this episode that was like the most shocking was they have you invest in one of the clones to all of a sudden just see him get taken up by that worm creature.
Yeah, that was like shocking.
Yeah, that was not a death. Like, and especially like that kind of death usually goes to someone you've got no relationship.
Mhm.
They built him up a little bit.
Yeah, you
Just
weren't
a
expecting that for sure.
Randomly. All right, he's gone. That's it.
I know. I thought it was actually kind of funny because they were like, oh no. And then they were like, well, we gotta get going. You know, like
there was
what are you gonna do?
Yeah, I thought about that. There was no grieving process.
No.
They're just like, well.
It started off with 5 of them, and then there's only 2 by the end. It's just Fives and Echo, which become very important characters throughout the series.
For a long, long time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I overall, I really enjoyed this episode. Like, I feel like it's crazy because yes, it's a kid's show at this point for sure, but they're saying, okay, we can't kill off a lot of the main characters. So let's put a very, just out the gate, show you a day in the life of the average clone. And that's what this episode set out to do. And, there's battle droids, there's them just defending some random outpost, and most of them are going to die. And when you write down the story on paper, it sounds more like a suspense thriller horror that you would, and if you were to like pitch this and someone say, great, now make it for kids, you'd be like, okay,
I'll try.
This is pretty dark. I showed you this pitch and you're wanting this for kids, which is kind of weird, but all right. They're like, it's okay. You can leave a few explicitives and the pinups can stay.
Yeah, the pinups can stay.
And you're like,
you're like, all right.
I still feel weird about you, producer guy, but all right.
Priorities.
We'll make it for kids. That's what this feels like to me. But so I did enjoy this story a lot for what it set out to do for that reason.
And it shows in our ranking. It's one of our better ranked Clone Wars episodes so far.
Yeah, I mean, I gave it a 7.4 out of 10 for the story because
it's officially our highest ranked Clone Wars episode so far. So
that's something.
Out of 5.
Yeah. And I gave the characters an 8.3 out of 10. You don't get the level of investment in this episode without the characters being what they were.
Yeah, I gave the characters my highest ranking too, kind of for that. And again, the pinups.
They made their way in.
Yeah.
But yeah,
you gave the music a much higher score than I did, though.
Yeah, you gave it a 4. I gave it a 7.3. I think unless I'm mistaken, I think this is the first time you get the iconic, and the only iconic if you've seen the show. So KG's like, I don't even know what he's about to talk about with this iconic piece of music. But if you know anything about the clones, that ba-da-da, bum, 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 played throughout, and at some pretty emotional moments when it was played. And they did some really fun things with the Force theme and how it kind of like molded into something else. And I don't really notice like music in the Clone Wars very often. And so in this case, I'm like, okay, that wasn't like just by saying it, because it's the first time ever, I'm going to go ahead and bump my music up to an 8.2 because
Wow.
yeah, it was really good. And because it introduced a new theme for the first time.
So I gave it half of that score. I gave it a 4 only because I felt like I didn't notice the music. Maybe my mind was like just distracted by all the other parts of the show, the pinups.
Yeah, you're still on it.
Yeah, no, that it didn't, the music didn't like stand out to me. So I just kind of gave it that neutral like 4.
That's fair.
But I'm going to be listening for it a lot closer now.
Yeah, I like I said, I do really enjoy that theme and the way it's played with kind of the old, I think of like Civil War, like the marching drums that's played with it. Yeah, and like I said, I thought that was really cool. Also, super weird that like a drummer was a legit thing in militaries back then. Could you imagine being that guy? Like, what
setting
like,
the pace?
Just setting the pace. Everyone's got their drum, and then what are you gonna do? It's not like he's gonna bolt.
No.
Like,
hopefully the other people are like respectful and they're like, he's just a drummer. We don't need to target him.
Drummer boy.
Like, you're a bad drummer. No, it's I actually just finished my first D&D campaign, and I was a rogue / bard. So as someone who is a bard, I understand the importance of using music to empower your army to battle.
Yeah, okay. That is still wild to me, though.
What?
That there's just
music?
some guy dressed up playing the drums. Do you think people do that now?
I can't really picture like in like Afghanistan or like someone.
I meant more
like
with AirPods, but like,
yeah, they like all have to switch to the same like radio station, so they're listening to like the same amp up playlist.
It's a special ops mission. You're supposed to be undercover. Yeah, you're drumming. It's the sound of death.
Yeah, it's probably more like rage metal music.
Yeah, the drums of the deep. We both gave the immersive universe a 7 out of 10.
So. Okay, I wanted to call out one of the things in the immersive universe that stood out to me is at some point they're discussing Tabana, which is this explosive. Tabana. Uh-huh. No, Tabana is an explosive.
Okay.
And that was
fun.
Yeah, not as fun. Yeah. And that is the same explosive from the High Republic novel Light of the Jedi. And there's like this projectile of this fuel source of Tabana that is heading towards like a sun, and they have to like stop it from hitting it, otherwise it blows up like the whole chunk of galaxy or something.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was cool to then rewatch this now, having so much more understanding of Star Wars, so I can pick up on those like little, oh wow, they actually pulled in something that ends up getting used in a different piece of media.
Yeah, that's cool. Didn't notice that at all.
Have you read that book?
Nope.
Okay, then you wouldn't. Yeah, I wouldn't expect you
to. No, I don't know. I mean, overall, for me, I gave it a 7, a C, because it was so paint by numbers with like, okay, they incorporated Grievous, because I mean, he had a point in the story, but Grievous was a part of it. Anakin's a part of it. Obi-Wan. You do introduce Rex into the series. You bring in Commander Cody. You do have like these characters that, I mean, I'm not going to give it praise for introducing Echo or Fives yet because it's brand new, but still, there's a lot that's baked into this episode that will be used for a long time. And it's like, all right, it's not like you're going out and incorporating Darth Vader and the Force and all these other huge Star Wars elements, but there's enough there that this absolutely feels like a piece of Star Wars content.
I will say that the Anakin and Obi-Wan interactions are very, very like surface level. Yeah. It's like, oh, Obi-Wan, you want me to follow rules? And then Obi-Wan's like, yeah, Anakin, you have to follow rules.
I really want someone to like splice that and like plug in their own like Unreal Engine 3D
Yeah.
characters of just that.
Using my voice.
Using your voice.
But yeah, that's like pretty much that's like the depth of their relationship at this moment, which I mean it makes sense. But as we're critically looking at it, I got to bring it up.
Yeah, I mean, it's the first season.
Yeah.
We'll give it
And I
time.
mean those technical aspects are rough.
Yeah. Okay, so let's take a look here. You gave it a 63%. I gave it a 73. That means this topples out at a 68%.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
As
Which,
far as like
boy.
Clone Wars goes so far.
Yeah, we've kind of trashed this first season, it looks like. 68, that's the highest. That's really sad because it's the highest we've given any episode thus far. So 54%, 54.9 for episode 1, 60.3 for episode 2, 44% for episode 3, which was the lowest piece of Star Wars.
Yeah, that
ever
I was
us.
just going to bring that up. On our website you can see where every single episode that we've ranked falls, and we have a new lowest episode ever, which was episode 3, Shadow of Malevolence, beat out Bad Batch season 1 episode 2, Cut and Run, almost by 10 points.
Jeez.
It was very much a middle of the ground episode, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot more Clone War like lower episodes.
We're not doing a good job convincing KG to
Yeah, you should watch
show.
it. It's
not
so
that great. It's actually the lowest piece of Star Wars content we've ranked thus far. I feel really good about our ratings for all of these. We've got Andor at number 1, 80.18, nominated for an Emmy right now.
Not just one Emmy. Andor was nominated for 8 Emmys.
Oh my goodness.
Including Best Drama Series. What I am shocked about, though, since we're kind of making this tangent a thing right now, is it didn't get a single acting nomination. And I felt like there were some extremely good performances from Diego Luna, from Stellan Skarsgård, Mon Mothma, Andy Serkis. Yes, absolutely. All of those. But I mean, the categories are stacked. I am a big TV, Emmy, Oscar gal. So I love watching and talking about these nominations. If you need more of an excuse to watch Succession, the entire cast is nominated. But Andor nominated for 8. Mando nominated for 9 Emmys, and Obi-Wan nominated for 5.
Wow. Okay, I didn't realize Mando was nominated for 9. How?
It comes down to I have to look up again exactly which categories, but I don't think Mando got any like big nominees. They're more of like the sound and editing and
that
like
I believe,
and that kind of stuff. Same with Obi-Wan had like for limited series, is nominated for limited series.
So okay, well we got to pull for Andor.
Yes,
drama, because none of the Marvel shows are nominated for.
But I mean, Andor being like it's the first season of this really experimental kind of show that took Star Wars in a very different direction, being up against House of the Dragon, final season of Better Call Saul, final season of Succession, all of these really big, The Crown, the biggest names in drama, and Andor like right up there.
That's amazing.
That's really impressive.
That shows Disney. Okay, this is what we invest in now.
See more of that.
Yeah, let's leave a lot of the Mando. I've come to realize it's so much like I still don't love it. I enjoy it, but it's so similar to what Star Trek was when it started. These own individual quests, and you're running off and doing things, and that's fine. But something like Andor, the way it's paced, and oh my goodness,
I haven't rewatched it yet, but I'm really craving it, and I feel like once I start rewatching it, I'm just gonna like binge it all the way through. And
that's as you should.
Yeah,
it's so good. Yeah, I mean, so that's our number 1, which no problems there. Mandalorian number 2, 78.73. Obi-Wan Kenobi, 78.04. The Book of Boba Fett at 71.75. The Bad Batch, 68.41%. Tales of the Jedi, 67.38. And the Clone Wars, 56.74. But not to worry, Star Wars fans. I have a feeling the Clone Wars will pull itself up nicely as time goes on.
It only has 550,000 episodes to average it out.
Yeah. So give it time. Give it time.
Yeah.
It'll find its way along the way. Someone did say, we were guests on a podcast last week or 2 weeks ago, and they mentioned how Rebels is better than Clone Wars because so much of Clone Wars is filler.
Yeah, duh.
Yeah, and I'm like, well,
that's not a hot take. That's just cold stone facts.
It's interesting though because I don't think most people have seen Rebels in
I
comparison
agree.
to Clone Wars.
And to that I say, you're missing out.
That's one thing. KG, have you seen Rebels? If so, why have you seen Rebels but not Clone Wars? That's another good question. I do think Rebels is better.
Absolutely. If someone came up to me and they were like, I love Rebels, I've never seen Clone Wars, I'd be like, yeah, I don't really need to.
I think it's one of those like LeBron versus Michael Jordan debates.
Oh, here we go.
Yep. I think it's one of those who had the higher peak, which I think is Clone Wars, who had the better career over 20 years, which is LeBron. So it's like, well,
Rebels is the LeBron of Star Wars.
Yeah. I'll go with that. Clone Wars can be
Or Michael. In my case, Rebels is the Beyonce of Star Wars. Maybe.
What does that make Clone Wars?
Taylor Swift?
I don't know enough about either.
I don't know either.
I know the fans go crazy for both.
Yeah.
And Kanye West has something to say about each of them.
Yeah.
So that's all I know. So let me ask you this. Like,
okay,
where would Taylor Swift and Beyonce be if Kanye hadn't have made them both famous that night on stage?
Kanye made them famous. Mm-hmm. I thought you were going to ask me if Beyonce was like a Star Wars character, like what would it be?
Yeah, what would she be?
I was actually thinking about this earlier because my mind is always filled with Star Wars and Beyonce. And I don't know if I can say Beyonce was a Star Wars fan at any point. Like that, it doesn't necessarily register to me because her life since a child has been like performance and like on the go. Like she's just not someone that's just flipping on and watching movies and TV shows. But now she has kids, and I bet that Blue Ivy loves the sequel trilogy. So why? Because it came out when she's a kid. It makes way more sense that she would love John Boyega and Daisy Ridley, and I bet that has been a thing that the Carter family enjoys.
See, I just don't know if the kids like the sequel trilogy. Like we all say they will because we like the prequels.
They're like under 10.
Here's the thing, though. The reason why I don't believe kids like the sequel trilogy is because merchandise sales for sequel trilogy toys were terrible in comparison to like when I was a kid. Like everyone was.
But okay, but stuff. Think about it. When we were kids, we had toys because like we actually like had to play with something. Kids these days just have screens and phones, so it doesn't really. You're not like. The market to get a child's attention is less so on a toy shelf than it was in years past.
Maybe that's true too. I don't know. All I know is Boba Fett still sells more than Rey.
I would like to see the stats. I would like to see the receipts.
I don't know if I really have to pull them up to showcase. Now, I will say I think Rey, I don't think that needs much of an argument to say that Rey's a better character right now than Boba Fett. As far as story is concerned. Right. But just what sells.
Yeah. Well, and also Boba Fett's had like 40 years of being sold in merchandise.
Fiction. Yeah. So I don't know.
Anyway, we rated this episode a solid, what was it? 68%, which puts
solid 60.
Solid 68. That makes it the 59th best episode of Star Wars we've ever seen.
Also, looking at wow, that's not great. Looking at the comments here, it looks like the KG said that her daughter loves Rey, and she watched Force Awakens the other day, loved it, and doesn't play with toys anymore. All tablet.
That's what I'm telling you.
I don't understand that. That's wild to me. Maybe I'm still stuck in the 90s. I don't know, but
yeah, because like the consumer market
Playing
for
Fortnite and
who's gonna like
pony
very few
noobs.
people are able, children especially, are able to like hold their attention with just like toys and not a screen.
This is wild to me.
I don't even have children, so I don't even know what I'm talking about. I'm just shooting off the cuff here.
That is wild. But yeah, we were watching like Clone Wars with like my little guy right before this, and just spouting off like, yeah, it's General Grievous. You see the clones? This, and I'm like, he just knows, and I'm like, he's probably only seen him like a few times, and
Definitely.
they just, I mean, it's funny because people are like, oh, you like Star Wars because you've turned them on to it, and that might be partially true, but there's just something about Star Wars that kids just love. Like, I'll turn on other things, and he's not interested, but Star Wars, especially like the Clone Wars era of stuff, he's just in love with.
That's awesome.
He's just like,
cool.
Oh, it's the best. So anyway, all right. Well, with all that to be said, yes, if you are listening to the show and you haven't listened to Clone Wars yet, well, this is the perfect time to do so. What you should do is follow along with us. We next week we'll be doing what episodes? I'll pull it up here. We'll pull it up here. But we're going to be like going through arc by arc. And then you can do it with us.
Yeah. So, or even if you don't want to watch the episodes, you don't even have to do it. You can just listen to Duel of the Ranks and you can know what you need to know about it. So like we'll do the hard part for you.
You said, yeah, but completely disagree.
Yeah, you can watch it with us, or you cannot watch it with us and just let us tell you how you should feel about it.
Everyone's so creative.
Yeah.
Have you seen those on YouTube?
Yeah.
I love them.
Well, it started off on TikTok, so.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
See, that shows my age too.
Yeah.
Entirely. All right, so this week we just did episode 5, but next week we are going to be going through episodes 6 and 7. So, come on, KG, that's only like whatever. It's only 20 minutes.
Less than an hour.
Just do it with us. Come on.
Yeah.
Easy. All right. So that's this part
the segment.
Well, that's this segment. We have another segment, which is hot takes, right?
Let's do it.
We're all under construction. I don't even know what comes next anymore, but it's time to get into the hot takes. And we've got a good one tonight for you. So let's play it.
Don't be too proud of this podcast you've constructed. The ability to rank content is insignificant next to the power of an exceptional hot take.
All right, it is hot takes time. Amanda, what is it? I know you got a good one tonight.
All right, yeah. So as a reminder, we're sourcing some of our hot takes from the internet. And this week I pulled one from Star Wars Holocron at SW Holocron on Twitter. They posted on June 28th, who would you choose as your Jedi Master? And it has 4 photos. The first photo is Obi-Wan and Anakin together. Second is Rey. Third is Luke. And fourth is Ahsoka. And I think for the sake of this hot take segment, we should keep it to those 5 options. And then maybe we can branch out over that afterwards. Right. But
who would you have as your Jedi Master?
We were just talking about her, but I would choose Rey.
Really?
Yeah. And that might be surprising to some.
Help her up her merch game?
What? Yeah. Feminism. No, to me, I think Rey would, like, just me as my personality, knowing Rey's personality as seen in the sequels, I like where she is sort of taking the Jedi Order in heavy quotes, because I think she is going to lead a new era of Jedi that is less focused on such stringent rules of the past. And I like how her character was very passionate and fiery and not afraid of her, like, passion and anger, and like all of her emotions came through in the sequels without shame. And I find that really interesting and would like her to be my teacher.
But the problem is there would be no hand holding. Sorry, very bad joke that didn't land. From The Force Awakens, every time John Boyega tried to hold her hand. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, I
didn't-
had missed that one.
Fell flat. Fell flat.
No, I
hand
think
holding.
Rey would be like the modern progressive like moment for the Jedi.
Okay. I hear what you're saying. I totally agree with most of it. The thing that pulls me away from wanting her as my master, as it feels like there's still so much she doesn't know, that which is like totally fine as on when you're on like a pure level, but I it's easy for me to see her leading you down a really dangerous path because she's also figuring it out herself. So you respect her for her powers, but there isn't that experience yet. That would make me wary to just like, go into battle with her and everything. But I don't know. I mean, unless again, it's Anakin and Obi-Wan. And that was kind of a similar thing. Whereas Obi-Wan didn't know that much more than Anakin. He was just a bit more mature. He treated Anakin like he was years beyond him, but whatever it was, like a decade, it wasn't much. So I would pick Ahsoka.
Yeah? Why?
Absolutely. And again, depends on what age, but the picture looked like it was like, the post
Rosario
Empire.
Dawson.
Yeah, Rosario
Ahsoka.
Dawson, Ahsoka. And that person's has so much experience with the light, the dark, seeing what, being around Anakin and seeing that dark side and what it's done to him and seeing the rise and fall of the Empire. There's a lot there. And with Luke, I think you're going to get a lot of rigidness from him that, this is the way of the Jedi and this is how things are going to be. And this is the way Yoda taught me, like whatever. And I just think Ahsoka is going to take everything on a case by case basis.
Yeah.
And train you at your pace on what she thinks is right for you.
Yeah. I absolutely respect that and agree.
Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see how it what you have to say though. Looks like in the comments here, why no Qui-Gon? That's an interesting one.
Qui-Gon. Yeah. I mean, when you think of like then all of the Jedi, obviously I'm gonna say Kanan Jarrus because that's my favorite Jedi. And I think he embodies a lot of
Was he ever a Jedi though?
Yeah.
Padawan.
He was a Padawan. Yeah, but you're kind of starting to see a trend in the type of Jedi that I like. It's sort of this post Order 66 where once it's kind of like when you have no faith, you have to rely on yourself and your gut feeling and your intuition to guide you and to tap into the Force that way. And there's something about that really resonates with me. Instead of being told what to do and following a list of rules and instructions, like using like your heart as your guidance. And I think we get that a lot with Kanan, with Rey, and with Ahsoka. But like you were saying, Luke, like between Luke, Obi-Wan, and Anakin also being in that group of Jedi masters to choose from, I just don't want a man telling me what to do anymore.
If I had anyone, any Jedi of all time, I mean, obviously Ki-Adi-Mundi. And we could just absolutely ask questions about the Wookiees. No, I don't know. I feel like even if I wasn't picking Ahsoka, I'd probably pick Anakin. It's not going to be a long ride. He's probably going to take you out.
Yeah.
But it's going to be a ride.
If I didn't pick Rey, and I was like alive during, let's say like before the prequels, I feel like I would have definitely followed Count Dooku.
That's a little bit to stomach.
Well, okay, I do love Count Dooku's character, and he is sort of this kind of like two sides of like Qui-Gon is sort of the opposite of him, or like they're kind of, I'm gonna piss off a lot of fans by even trying to make this type of comparison, but the way that like Dooku starts to see the flaws in the Jedi is definitely something that I would also capitalize on. Like once someone would be like, oh, man, this is not working like this, I'd be like, yeah, you're so right. And
Yeah.
I would be easy for me to fall into that, like, well, yeah, we should just like go off and do our own thing.
So you'd
And
be a
then
Sage Ventress.
I would be a Sage Ventress.
All right. That's good to know. That's good to know.
So
Yeah.
don't cross me.
I don't know if I would follow Qui-Gon. There's nothing wrong with Qui-Gon. I think,
Qui-Gon's a good man.
honestly, I'm saying Kit Fisto. That's where I'm going. I
would have a crush on my Jedi Master, so I would not be able to focus if
If
Kit
you're
Fisto was my Jedi Master.
Yeah, I do not have a crush on him, but he doesn't he get around to? Pretty sure he and Ayla Secura had a thing for a minute there, but
Not
don't
that
know.
I knew of.
Might have been expanded universe, but anyway. Well,
That's our hot takes. Wait, do we need to rank them?
I don't know.
I don't know. There's just a good discussion
It was
point.
a good discussion. This point, we didn't really claim anything.
Yeah,
We didn't say who's
yeah.
the best. I guess that would be maybe that's how we could turn this thing. Who's the best Jedi Master to follow and why? Everyone else is just wrong. I don't think either of us have that take.
No, I don't think we have that take.
No, but what's your take? It looks like a lot of people, from what I'm looking at online, they like Qui-Gon Jinn. So
Yeah.
I guess you're not wrong for that.
The world would be a better place if Qui-Gon Jinn had been a Jedi Master to us all.
I feel like you would really hate life if Mace Windu was your Jedi Master.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't think you would enjoy. Very legalistic.
I think he would remind me of my high school softball coach
Mm,
who just really made sports not fun anymore.
mhm.
You're like, what? Why am I choosing to spend my time with you?
Yeah. Yeah. I had a basketball coach like that.
Yeah.
It was the first time in my life where I'm like, I hate seeing the basketball.
Yeah, I'll come up with any excuse I can to try to not have to see you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At all. So I
So there we go.
That's this
That's it.
episode. This was a bit of
No,
an
wait, we still have one more thing to talk about after the hot take
Oh, we
segment.
do?
Well, we kind of leading into it.
Oh yeah.
We have a new Ahsoka trailer that came out this
Ooh,
week.
that did happen.
That was a big deal.
Yeah. I
How did you
guess.
feel about it?
Indifferent.
Indifferent. I was okay. I'm kind of in like the middle of the road as far as whether to watch trailers or not. I like watching the first one and then being kind of hands off after that, but I had to watch this next one.
Mm,
And I liked what I'm seeing. Like it seems like it might be more of a Sabine Wren story,
mm.
which I like that, but also stop naming series after characters because then you're boxed in to trying to be like, oh, this is Ahsoka story. I don't know. It should just be Rebels season 5, but we're gonna go on a tangent.
Yep.
Anyway, I'm still uncomfortable by Hera's eyes. They're just unnatural and a little kooky.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people on Twitter are really, really excited, claiming it's going to be the best Star Wars content ever. I hope it is.
Mm,
But I am slightly guarded.
yeah.
And I would love, I got to set my bar like a little in the middle of the road so I can be impressed, you know, if it's bold enough to impress me.
That's fair. Yeah, I'm right there with you. I remember there was another Star Wars podcaster who asked me what I thought about the Ahsoka trailer, and I said indifferent. And he just like his mind was blown. Like, how can you not be so excited? I'm like,
I was excited to get an Anakin Skywalker name drop.
yeah,
I didn't see that kind of layer coming through. I saw some nice screen caps from the trailer to cuts of episodes from Rebels that show like mirroring of what Sabine's journey is to what Kanan's journey was. That has me real excited, but I don't know.
Yeah, we don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, it's too tough to tell. I think the other thing is we've seen so much content in the last decade from properties that were huge when we were kids, that, like, you know, the Jurassic Parks, the Star Wars, the Godzillas, the Lord of the Rings. And it's been interesting because so many of these on average at best are mediocre.
Mm-hmm.
Very few actually succeeded. And so to that point, I just don't really buy into any trailer now. Like I think like the new Transformers trailer looked really cool, but I know it's a Transformers movie, and so it's probably garbage. And so trailers to me have lost most of their impact, unless
You're almost better off not watching them. Like I saw the first Barbie trailer, and there's been another Barbie trailer that came out, and I didn't watch it because I'm like, I don't want all the funny moments to be spoiled.
Yeah,
I want to go in and like be surprised.
I've heard that movie is supposed to be pretty good.
I know.
So,
I feel like I'm gonna love it.
Yeah, and I also just learned it's not Ryan Jocelyn, it's Ryan Gosling.
Wow.
Yeah, so I've learned something this week. He's really good, so that he'd be the reason I'd see it.
Yeah.
I don't have any love or hate for Margot Robbie.
It's got an otherwise stacked cast.
Who else is in it?
A lot of people. I don't know. It's got and then Oppenheimer's the big double feature that's coming out with it.
Okay, yeah.
Are you interested? Are you going to be seeing that too?
I don't know anything about it. I just know the name. Robert Downey Jr., right? That's all I know.
Yeah, he's in it. He's not the main character. Cillian Murphy is.
Nope, don't know anything about it.
Wow.
Nope.
Barbenheimer?
Nope.
Wow.
Nope. What's the other one? Then I did see a trailer for the Willy Wonka movie that I probably won't see.
Yikes.
You saw that?
I did. It made me cringe.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not. It kind of reminded me more of was it Tim Burton that did the Willy Wonka movie?
The Johnny Depp one?
Yeah, and that one was kind of unsettling and weird too. And I feel like it's taking that tone versus the charm of the first one. I
think Timothée Chalamet is a really talented actor. I love him in a lot of things, but I don't think the casting was right. He just doesn't have like the quirkiness.
What else is he in?
And he's in Little Women, which is one of my favorite movies, my favorite adaptations ever. He's in Dune.
That's what I'm thinking of. Okay.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, he's fine. I mean, look, it has a real Harry Potter feel to it as
Definitely.
well.
Well, it's produced, by the same people. And I think that will be what really pulls people into the theaters to see that kind of thing. But I'm not going to see it.
I'm not opposed to it, but I just get a feel like, why does this feel like too dark for my kids? Like, I don't know. It's weird that a Willy Wonka movie would give me that vibe.
I mean, in reality, Gene Wilder's Willy Wonka was like, I'm going to kill you with candy. So I don't know why that's really shocking to you.
But it's so charming and light. Did those kids, I don't think they died in the end, though. No, they weren't dead. They got sent home to a happy farm, and I'm pretty sure they lived. Fact check us, fans. Let us know by next week.
Yeah, they all lived happily ever.
I'm pretty sure the kids lived. I'm pretty sure. Let us know in the comments or send us the things. We'll have to find out. And I guess we're just too lazy to Google it. But I think that's this week's episode of Duel of the Ranks. On that note, child death, which is on brand for Star Wars.
Yeah.
Yeah. So next week, we are going to be going over episodes 6 and 7. So the R3 arc. So
oh boy, a droid arc. Oh boy.
Here we go. Really are luring people in to follow us for this. But be sure to tune in because we're going to be doing that. And after this first season ends, it's going to lead right into Ahsoka.
Yeah.
So be sure to tune in. Next week, it starts our new process of new schedule of being live at 8 o'clock on Thursdays.
I won't be in the studio.
Yeah, you won't be in the construction site. So the week gets done. So it'll just be me. But you are gallivanting across the world over the next week or two. Do you want to tell listeners what you're doing, or is that private?
Yeah, I am going on tour with my little friend. You may know her as Beyonce Giselle Knowles Carter.
That's a lot of names.
It is. And she is performing in Nashville this weekend. And then the following weekend, she's playing in Chicago, and I'm seeing her both times.
You are actually a groupie now.
I am. Yeah, I'm joining her on tour, and I'm very excited. This is my first time seeing her, and it is a dream come true. I've been like hyperventilating and trying not to have a panic attack all week as if I've been like, I'm going to see Beyonce this week.
Is she your favorite artist?
She is.
Undoubtedly. I don't know if I have a favorite artist anymore.
She's my current favorite artist. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know much music by her. The last time I remember her being big was like Irreplaceable, Check on It, and
Solid.
Beautiful Liar, and then it kind of fell off.
Well, I mean, the hits just keep coming after that, so you should dive back in.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe. Maybe. We'll see. But that's this week's episode of Duel of the Ranks. If you want more Duel of the Ranks content, then go to our website. We are going to be having some guests on as time goes on, so be on the lookout for that. Otherwise, we'll check you next week for the Clone Wars Season 1, Episodes 6 and 7. Next week, Thursday at 8 o'clock Central Time. We will see y'all then.